Hello, I'd like to share a short demo of MontainOffice with you. MontainOffice is a database especially created for ski resort and mountain operations by ski people. It is simple, it allows for flexibility in its layout such that the output of the system closely mirrors how you do your work. It provides maintenance, scheduling, document organization of all your lifts, groomers, snowmaking, base lodges, and anything else that you might want to add. We'll take a quick look and travel through the system. The top section here is what we call the structure. It is where you build the resort and you build all the components underneath it. And this is the area that you select what you want to look at. We then have a series of buttons along this middle bar. These are the menu buttons which have functionality associated with each one of them, which is unique. You choose a button, and for anything that's highlighted above, it'll provide that unique functionality to that item that is highlighted above. The lower section here provides the detail of what you have asked for. So if I ask for a spare part of something that's highlighted up here, that spare part is going to appear down here, and we can select it. So let's go into this resort and see what we've got. We'll open it up, and you can see that we've got 4 basic areas. This has been divided into basically management structure of permits and compliance, mountain operations, lodging, and property management, and base area operations. We're going to focus on mountain operations. So let's open that up, and we have the standard departments that exist in most mountain operations: dispatch, lift maintenance, lift ops, snowmaking, terrain parks, and vehicle maintenance. We're going to open up lift maintenance. Let's go in there, and we're going to go right to the lifts in a section of the mountain. And here are all the lifts listed. So each lift is a folder, and we can break that lift down into as many components as we'd want. We're going to look at the gatehouse lift. We're going to open that, double click it, and you can see that we've got some folders that have some inspections in them. We're not going to look at those. We're going to look at some other material here. We're going to look at maintenance, and I'm going to double click on that, and you can see that we go deeper into the structure of the lift, and here we have components of the lift, and these are laid out in accordance with the manufacturer of the lift's manual. So we have brakes, bull wheel, carriers, drive machinery, etc. Let's go in and look at drive machinery just to see what we've got there. And here, excuse me, we have auxiliary drive, evac drive, the gearbox, the main motor, the universal shaft, and the V-belt drive. We're going to look at the gearbox, and you'll notice down here that we have, this is now got a 1 and a 2 in it, and we're going to double click that, and it appears with 2 schedules. That's what this 2 indicates. And we're going to open up this schedule, and when I say schedule, I might also mean work order. That's a semantical discussion that we could have as to which is which, but we call them schedules, so that's what I'll refer to. This schedule for this gearbox is got a unique barcode up here, and I'll explain that a little bit later. We have the header of the schedule. We have concluding documentation, which is a feature that gives us quite a bit of flexibility in how we can add material and time and other things to the work order. And this is where we actually add the tasks within the work order, and we do this ourselves, and we create these boxes, indicate when they're checked, they're finished. So under basic information, the header record, we actually build the work order header information, and we have a category which is we've labeled it maintenance, but this is, you build the categories, and this gives you the ability to sort data the way you want it to sort it, extract data in both historical and looking forward. So this is an important part, but it is something that you build, not us. Schedule name is simple. It's whatever you name the schedule. You can assign a responsible person. That could be the department manager, or it could be a technician or a supervisor, however you break down your workload and want to assign the responsibility. We have a deadline date that is selected. We then choose how many days we would like to start this work order in advance of that deadline date, and that would give us a start date. We can put in allocated time so that we can say, okay, this should take 2 hours, and we can measure that as a metric and see how whomever's doing the work is standing up to our standards. We can also put in a cost estimate as to what we think this is going to cost. We also have an interval section, which is very important because this we can do by time, or this button selects a counter, which would be the lift hour meter counter. We're going to stick with time here, and you can see we've got an interval of 6 months. This can be by day, week, year. And this is important because whatever the interval is, when you complete a work order, it then creates the next work order in sequence. So this is in 6 months. So when we complete this work order, there would be a new work order generated and sit out in the open schedules folder that would show a due date of 6 months from now. So once a work order is created, we don't ever have to go in and type it in again or build it. It automatically regenerates itself. Instructions, pretty straightforward. We can add pictures, pages from the manual if we so choose, schematics, a little drawing that could be hand drawn, scanned in, whatever is applicable that really needs to go with the work order. Safety notes, we're all very safety conscious. We are aware of that. We want to remind our folks to be safe. We also suggest here that you add the tools and extra equipment that may be needed for a job so that somebody goes out to the job prepared for everything that they might see. In remarks, you can put in anything here. We often suggest that key locations or ladder requirements or some access point or something special may have to be done in a certain situation. They can be added for an individual work order at a specific point in time, or they can be carried on as the work order regenerates itself. That's up to you. The work order can be seen here. It can be checked off on a desktop, or it can be seen on a mobile app, an Android tablet or Android smartphone, so that somebody in the field would have in their toolbox their smartphone or their app or their tablet, and they'd be able to access this information, pull it up, do the work, check it off, record their time, record any material used, record any special notes, take a photograph, attach it, and also sign the work order electronically so that when it goes back into the file, it's showing that it's been signed and meeting all the requirements for our lift inspectors. Also on the mobile app, I'm not demonstrating it here, but that technician can also access the historical work that was done on the work order. So if there's a question mark and he or she wants to know what was done in the past, they can go back into the archive file, pull up that work order, and see what was done and make adjustment into the work that they're doing now. They can also access documents which would include the manual, any schematics or drawings that might be on file, any special records that might be applicable to what they're doing. That information is all accessible through the mobile app. We also can print this so that we can produce paper documents. So let's just do that, and we'll select, we have multiple print capabilities, and I hit a wrong button there, and here we go, and you can see the document. It has the 3 tasks that were done. It has the appropriate information. It has the barcode up here, which I'll explain just as I finish this. And you can see that we can also include the persons involved, the working hours, any material that was used, any remarks, or and then of course the signature is there. Now, the barcode is very important because this paper work order says, okay, how do I get this in the system? I don't want to have to type it. Well, you just scan it in. And that barcode is unique to that lift, to that gearbox, to that date. So when it files it, it's filed in under that lift, under gearbox, and for that specific date. And what also happens when you do that, it's filling the boxes on what you saw on the screen before in the electronic version, but it's also attaching this paper copy to the work order so that you're essentially capturing the piece of paper and you're recording the information in the um, system as if it was done electronically by clicking boxes here. And the good news of that is that that allows you to keep that information. So if you had all your paper, you're doing all your work via paper, which is fine, then all that gets scanned in, gets attached, and now you've got that all filed electronically. You really don't have to keep the paper anymore. And if somebody comes back and says, well, I want to see that, you can bring it up and it comes up in a PDF format. We also have another capability, which I'll show you, is that you can build these work orders however you want to. And I'm showing you an example of that. This is winter maintenance, which is done on these lifts. They've standardized most of it for every lift. It's really, this is a monthly inspection that is done. I'll take this to a print format so you can see it a little better. It's got the safety notes you can see here that are printed out. It's got remarks, just a reminder, record total hours of all personnel working on these activities to include travel setup, so that they know that they're doing that. Then it's got the detail. You can see there's quite a bit here. There's 5 steps here that are being done, and they're multiple components, and so that's why this work order was created this way. This is again an inspection that's done during the course of the winter every month, and it's dealing with brakes. It's dealing with the service brake, the rollback brake. It's dealing with the evac motor. It's dealing with fire extinguishers and shacks and things like that. So you have the flexibility to create what you want, and this work order also shows that you can record pad thickness, pad clearance, this type of information, and I'll share with you how you can do that electronically as well. We'll close this out and close this. And under concluding documentation, we have something called value record. And under value record, you can record temperatures, amps, pressures, pad thicknesses, whatever you want to set up. And you can see here that if I click on one of these, and should open up, and I can select what I want. I've got inches, hours, pounds, notes, percentages, pressure bars. So you create this drop-down menu. It's not created by us, it's created by you. So it gives you the flexibility, and then you can determine the value can be put in of what it is, and it gets recorded on the work order. I mentioned you could charge the time. This is person and the working hours. You can charge material. You can see the parts here that have been charged out in previous work orders. You can attach a document, so if somebody's working on something and they want to take a picture, they can take a picture, attach it. They can do a drawing of something that they think that they want to record. They realign something, or they remounted something in a different spot. Don't have a camera with them, they just do it on a sketch pad. That can come down to the shop, be scanned in, and attached to the work order. They can add remarks, which could be whatever they want to write in about they had difficulty accessing it. They can explain why it took more time than necessary. Again, that information is captured, and it's all in one place. You don't have to be searching for things. This increases the efficiency not only of the technician, but of the administrative staff who are getting asked questions or are trying to pull out information for lift inspectors, either state or insurance ones. So a lot of flexibility here. I did mention you can see this on the mobile app, and you can do all those things on the mobile app as well. Another great feature that we have in our system, which you won't find anyplace else, is that we can, under towers here, we can print line maintenance. So I'm only going to pick one tower here, but you would list all the towers of the lift, and you would click them off, and you'd go to print, and out comes a work order which you could print out and put in your notebook for summer work, as so many of you do, because you're on a lift, you're off. There's a lot of work, obviously, in the line maintenance for a lift. This has the tower number, and it has the basic tower work, and it has the shiv assembly work that was required, both for the heavy side and the light side. I'm going to sort of scroll down here, and you can see that these are the checkpoints that are supposed to be done relative to the heavy side. And we've got all of the heavy side shivs here listed, all 10 of them, with our own unique barcodes. And we've put in a check or a G for whether they're on in order or whether they need to be replaced. It can be signed. And then we would continue on to the light side for that tower. You can see here, there's the heading. I didn't go to the next page, but I will for you, just to take it up to where it starts. And here we are on the light side. So basically the same thing, but again, all this could be done. If you had 20 towers, you can print all 20 towers at once. And that's a really neat feature, so that you can easily create your workbooks for the summer, and that work order can be built any way you want it to be built. So we took what was standard in there, but you could add whatever else you want to that. You can see here actually I'm going to go down one, and we have something called basic data, which doesn't sound that sexy, but it's something that I think is very important. And that is, you can capture all of the data related to any component. And I think this is important because in many situations, people over time, especially with older lifts, we change things out. We may change an alternator on a evac motor, let's say, if we are using one to charge the battery on the system, although an evac motor doesn't get run enough to really do that. But it would be something that if we didn't stay with the manufacturer, we went to, say, a non-OEM part, we should record that, and we should keep note of what that is, and if it had different bolt size or required a different belt. Well, all that information could be recorded under this sort of basic data, because we would go to the evac motor basic data format. Here I've got the entire lift, which shows the drive, the tensioning, the direction, standard lift information, which all of you are familiar with, but it's all here. So I think it's important to understand that we have this data, sort of a collection point by lift, by component of the lift, and we can break it down pretty finely so that you can find it very easily. And that's really the key of MontainOffice, that it enables you to find information easily and quickly. That's about it. I thank you for your time. I look forward to talking with you further about MontainOffice and what it can do for you. Best of luck for getting ready for the upcoming winter. Think snow, and thanks again. Goodbye.